Channel, guys. We do have some breaking news for you this afternoon or this morning, late morning, as Danny Rohl, to be Rangers manager, is pretty much done. He is going to be the next Rangers manager, and of course a lot of people aren't happy with this potential appointment at this moment in time. Yesterday, of course, we broke the news that Kevin Muscat had, of course, pulled out and was not going to be appointed the next Rangers manager. Quickly following this, Danny Rohl quickly emerged as the front runner once again, and we were told that talks had re-begun between the German and the football club, and now we've got confirmation this morning that the deal is imminent, it's pretty much done, and he's set to be appointed as the next head coach of the football club. As always, guys, let's get over to social media, go through our sources, and then get some reaction. But as you can see here, Danny Rohl is now being close to be the next Rangers manager. Danny Rohl is set to be appointed the new manager of Rangers after missing out on both Steven Gerrard and Kevin Muscat. That was a bit earlier on, of course, with regard to Sky Sports. And yeah, Danny Rohl is on his way, set to be named as the new Rangers boss. Danny Rohl agrees deal to become Rangers boss, and process has shown lack of trust in recruitment process from top candidates. Huge pressure on Farewell and Stewart after debacle. Now, of course, Daily Rags on it. Danny Rohl on brink of being named new Rangers boss. So, as stated, Danny Rohl is on his way. Questions need to be asked, of course, with regard to the individuals that are heading up this. The ones that have Kevin Farewell, we spoke about him yesterday. We spoke about Patrick Stewart yesterday and stated that these guys need to be the next ones out of the door. Danny Rohl, funnily enough, was after Steven Gerrard. He became the sort of front runner, but then apparently came out and said that he no longer wanted to be the manager of the football club, or at least the head coach of the football club. Then now we're getting this after Kevin Muscat pulled out, and now Danny Rohl is set to be appointed. I hope this guy is not a yes man, to be fair. Fairly underwhelming, really. Fairly underwhelming. Do feel that this is an underwhelming appointment right now. Just because we went from Gerrard to potentially having Kevin Muscat as well, to now back to Danny Rohl. It just doesn't feel good, does it? It just doesn't feel good. But as stated, fans are going to have to get behind him. We're seeing that. Let's have a little look what Sky Sports are saying.
To the Rangers fans. I think he's got a bit of a sell on. I think the club have got a bit of a sell to the Rangers fans. There was a lot of support behind Gerrard. There was a lot of support behind Kevin Muscat. Probably not as much of a groundswell of opinion behind Danny Rohl. Ultimately, he's got a chance to come in and win matches. And if you do that, the Rangers fans, they will turn. They will give you their full backing, but I think he does have a big job on his hands here, because you saw again at the weekend, it's a squad that's not in a good place, it's a club and a crowd that's not in a good place as well. So he comes into a big job, but probably not at a great time.
Given the way this is all unfolded, do you think that makes this job that bit more difficult for Danny Rohl to try and win over supporters?
I think it will be difficult for him. I think if he had been appointed in the summer, he was interviewed for this position in the summer, if he had been appointed then, I don't think you would see the groundswell of negativity. He's been classed as Russell Martin Mark II. People have written him off as it's just another guy from the Championship. I think that's unfair. I think the clubs and the level that he's coached at previously speaks a lot about him. He's clearly got something about him as a coach. Now, you don't work at Bayern Munich, you don't work for the German national team if you're not really good on the grass, if you don't have respect of dressing rooms and players at that level. Doesn't have a lot of managerial experience in his own right. I think that will be a concern to the Rangers fans. But as I said there, if he can come in and win games, they will turn and they will go in his favour.
There's been a lot of chat throughout this process about the difference between a manager and a head coach and what sort of fit Rangers need as a leader to take the club forward. What do you think they're getting in Danny Rohl? Are they getting a manager or a head coach, job title aside?
I think they're getting a head coach. I think they're going to get someone who's probably more better as a coach, better from the tactical side of it. He doesn't have enough experience. We don't know enough about him in terms of his man management. We don't know what he's going to be like in a dressing room at this level in front of crowds like this. He has worked at a big club, obviously, in Sheffield Wednesday, but it's a very, very different picture here. He's coming into a club who have a demand and an expectation to win silverware, to win matches, to perform at the highest level in Europe, and they've not been doing that. So he comes in at a time. The scope for improvement is huge. The speed at which he can improve, I think, could be quite rapid. But he's really going to have to hit the ground running. You look at the matches coming up Thursday night in Europe, a couple of league games, and there's a game against Celtic coming up. If you can get off to a good start, it really gets them off and running. If you don't, the pressure can build very, very quickly here. You just have to ask the last couple of managers that have held this particular office that.
Yeah, Rohl had previously withdrawn from this process on Wednesday of last week because he believed that there was others that were further ahead than him. Where do you think his headspace is going to be at coming into this role? If it is to be him, he might not have been the first choice.
I don't think that will put him off. If you are in the process for long enough, you clearly have something about you. I say he was in part of the process in the summer before Russell Martin was appointed. By all accounts, he interviewed very well a couple of weeks ago as part of this particular process. He was really keen to get down to work last week. He wanted the job. He wanted to be in this job before the Dundee United game because he saw that as a really good chance to come in and get off and running and to make a positive impression on these Rangers fans. That obviously didn't happen. By the middle of last week, decided he was going to withdraw from the process. At that stage, it looked like it was going to be Kevin Muscat's job, but I say circumstances obviously tell a very different story. If he's going to take the job, I think he'll come in with his eyes wide open. He'll know where this squad is, he'll know what the situation is, and he'll know the demands of this crowd here.
Chris, there's been so much change at Ibrox this year, new ownership, a new football department. What have you made of the way that this current regime have gone about their business in this second appointment after, in their own words, admittedly getting the first one wrong?
It's not been good, has it? It's not been a smooth process. I think they have compounded the mistake of the summer. There wasn't a lot of love for Russell Martin very early on. I think a lot of people knew early on that was a wrong call. I think his tenure went on for too long. The call should have been made earlier to make that change. When you then make it on the eve of an international fortnight, the timescales are all laid out for you. You have to have someone in the dugout before that Dundee United game. They couldn't do it. Couldn't get Gerrard over the line. Ultimately, they couldn't get Kevin Muscat over the line. Two guys who have an affinity with this club and with this support. Two guys who wanted the job. So it doesn't look great from the outside looking in if you have two candidates who want the job, who the fans both want to get the job, and you can't get those deals over the line for whatever those reasons are. So I think the board here, the executive here, they do have questions to answer. They've been in the sights of the fans already. We saw more banners here at the weekend. I think those protests and those kind of feelings will only ramp up. I think he's...
Facts. I mean, look, it's fuck me, man. It doesn't feel good, does it? Because they've been going around and flirting with other people and trying to get them in. It's clearly to see that this is not their first choice. It's obviously their third choice. And then they've got him now coming in through the door. But it's not his fault that we're in absolute shit state with regard to the club right now and the management above the head coach position. But we're going to have to get behind the guy, to be fair. We're going to have to get behind him. Look, I don't know an awful lot about him, but to compare him to Russell Martin Mark II is not fair on him. They're completely different. They've got different sort of philosophies as such. My concern is that, the fans are not already happy with this appointment. And we've seen with Russell Martin, you get off to a bit of a buoyant start, then you're going to be under a lot of pressure. The thing with Steven Gerrard and the thing with Kevin Muscat is that they would have had the fans on side, which would give them a better leeway, a little bit of time to get things moving. However, with Danny Rohl, it doesn't look like that is the case at this moment in time with regard to him. But bless him, look, he's a Rangers manager, he's a Rangers head coach. Of course, I want him to do really well. I just have my fucking doubts with Tweedledee and Tweedledum up in the boardroom because they are absolutely negligent. They are charlatans. They look really, really bad. And yeah, I have no faith whatsoever in those two Muppets. We've got one guy that spent 10 million quid on a player from his old football club to get himself a payday. It's clear as day that that's the case. I should use the term allegedly, but yeah, that looks as though that was very much true. And that guy is Muppet. There you go. David Ornstein now jumping into it. That Rangers closing in the appointment of Danny Rohl as new head coach. Not fully done, but 36-year-old German chosen candidate. Rangers in process of filing deal to win manager search by installing highly rated ex-Sheffield Wednesday boss. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the breaking news, and it does look as though Danny Rohl is set to be appointed as the manager, and we're close to that of being all but done. I'm interested to take some sort of comments in the live chat quick. I want to get a feeling for what the fans are feeling. I do look as though most fans are not really happy. But Scott B says whoever gets the job would be in the same difficult situation. King Billy says, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Sir Blue says, I don't mind Rohl, but this isn't a job for a 36-year-old. Now we don't need to support a child and today destroying our club. So you can see a lot of negativity here, by the way, with regard to this appointment. And understandably, I feel a little bit underwhelmed. And I hope this boy proves me wrong. I really do. There is some positives. He's a highly rated young coach. But I don't think it's necessarily Danny that's going to be the problem. I genuinely do believe it's fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledum upstairs. They are absolutely clueless. They have no idea what they're doing. And this is so clear and apparent by their first managerial appointment, their transfers, their moves in the transfer market, the way that they can't sell a football club to two guys that really wanted to come back to the football club. They are fucking horrible bastards. And I feel for Danny Rohl that he's not going to succeed because them two Muppets are in position. I really don't. I really don't see it happening, but I hope I'm wrong. Of course, I want Rangers to go back to the top of Scottish football. Of course I do, but I just can't see it under this regime and under these two Muppets. That is Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart. But guys, do let me know your thoughts on this imminent appointment, of course, of Danny Rohl down there in the comment section below. Hit like, hit subscribe.